It's okay. I'm gonna save you. I'm gonna save all of you. Hello everyone, and welcome to A Salty Squid. Well, first off, the lighting is a little different because my original OC is too pale for my sunlight that I use for those good highlights. But yeah, so today I'm gonna be talking about my creepypasta OCs. They're all boys, and they're all nasty. The boy who I'm casually dressed up as is Jay, and he's also known as Graffiti. So yeah, I guess I might as well talk about him. But I started off with Jay, so might as well finish with Jay. Brief summary about him. He was essentially a street artist. Like, he does the graffiti and stuff, and he had a group of friends, and they've been in a bit of a turf war, except it's like an artist turf war with another group of graffiti artists trying to see who can make like this big new sensational art. And Jay, like, we all get art block, all us artists can relate to that. Jay had that, except like the extreme version of it. And all of his friends were like, hey, acid. That's what we're using to, you know, kind of bring in the creativity. And Jay's like, I don't know, that's drugs. I am in my good Christian suburbs. So basically he goes and buys himself some acid, and he's about to take it when this guy, red suit, approaches him in the alleyway and is like, nah, you don't want that. And Jay's like, well, I mean, kinda do. I wouldn't have bought drugs if I didn't want the drugs. And the guy's like, but see, that's a ratchet acid. I got the good stuff. Sorry, it's really nice to feel. And so he gives him like this tab, looks like all the other acid tabs, and he's like, okay, well, guess I'll do this. And so he takes it, and long story short, things get real spooky. Basically, he sees all of these normal people. This tab makes him see them as these distorted, like, demons. And you find out the guy who was giving him the tabs, his acid dealer, is Zalgo. And so basically, he comes to the conclusion that the entire world is infected with this disease, and that only this special acid that he's getting from Zalgo, though he doesn't know who Zalgo is, allows him to see who's infected and who's not. So he's killing people, but he thinks he's like doing the equivalent of wiping out a zombie. So he thinks he's a good guy. And I love characters like these because they're really interesting. And then I made him. He's a good boy. Not really, but he's trying his best. He's 19, and I have a little side story for him with EJ, because I thought it'd be really cool that, because he sees everything as so distorted, like regular humans, that he'd look at EJ and see this beautiful Aphrodite-like man and be like, I want to save you and also give you a smooch. And EJ's like, fuck this shit, I'm out. But EJ wants absolutely nothing to do with him for a long time because he's just more of a pest than anything else. But so that's a fun little side story I'm working on with him, and I really love this boy. He's probably my favorite out of my, well, I have 4 technically, but haven't done much with Madam Carnage, so I'm not gonna really talk about her because I haven't worked out all her kinks yet. So the next boy is a nasty boy named Nathan Brooks, or the Bloody Avenger. And I actually read his origin story that I wrote when I was a small, edgy kid earlier in this channel. So if you want to check that out, promotion. And he essentially, I really like, so all three of my OCs tie into a bigger story called the Creepypasta Files that I'm working on. So Zalgo is involved in at least Nathan and Jay's storyline because it ties into the big one of the Creepypasta Files. So Nathan, basically, his sister was raped. I hate saying that word, like, verbally, it's gross. But, and killed, and he's trying to figure out who killed her, and he's really upset about the whole thing, rightfully so, very angry, he wants revenge, and this man in a red suit, who could it be, approaches him and says, hey, you're real edgy and angry, so when you're ready to actually do something with that anger, hit me up, and, just call out this name 3 times, and he's like, or I think it was 6 times, I don't know. It was call out my name a certain amount of times. So Nathan's like, okay, cool, whatever. Thinks he's just a creep. And then stuff happens at his school where he's just getting really darker because he's focused so much on getting revenge. And eventually he gets suspended from school temporarily. So he runs off and goes to the police station to see if there's any updates on his sister's case when he sees a ring that belonged to his sister on the police chief's desk. But the thing is the ring wasn't in the case file. So the only conclusion is, like, how does the police chief have the ring if it was supposedly missing? So he comes to the conclusion that the chief was the one who did the do to his sis, and he gets very upset, calls out Zalgo's name, and basically sells his soul to Zalgo, and becomes a proxy, and does some graphic slaughtering of this man. He uses those tentacles that he gets, cause, basically, Zalgo, when he's in, when proxies make their deal with, I like to think that when proxies make deals with Slenderman or Zalgo, they take on attributes of the said deity that they've become the proxy of. So, like, he has, like, he's able to liquefy certain points, like, he'll have tentacles sprout from his back, his blood, like, forms into this scythe. Real edgy stuff, I know. So he kills him, and he swears that he's gonna, like, wipe out all the scum. So he is actually a hunter in the main Creepypasta Files series, and is against all of our main pastas, who are the main protagonists of the story. And then my last boy is Peter Barnes, and he's precious. He is also known as the Bat, and essentially he was born blind to a street prostitute in Chicago. And if you know anything about Chicago, it's a very noisy city. So he has really, really delicate... Oh, he's also albino. I forgot to mention that. That's part of why he lost his hearing. And so he's very sensitive to sunlight, and he has a very sensitive ears. So he's constantly kept inside, and, like, he gets these constant bad headaches from people, from just the noises of the city. And he always listens for his mom, like, coming in the door, and one day she just doesn't come home. Or no, that's not it. Sorry, it's been a while. She dies of a genital, like, disease. And so she goes silent, and he can't hear her anymore, and noises are very important in his storyline. So he, like, becomes an orphan in the city, and is just fending for himself, and is constantly getting headaches because, again, of all the noise. And he tries to steal an apple, and the store owner's not fond of that, and chases after him. He's yelling, he starts beating the boy in, like, the alley, and Peter just grabs for, like, the nearest thing he can, which is a pipe, and just, like, he swings and he hits and he just keeps swinging because he's scared. He has the adrenaline pumping, and he notices that the man who was screaming and hurting his ears stopped. Like, the noise is gone. It doesn't hurt him anymore. So he basically is kind of, he's very innocent, and he's just trying to, like, essentially make the world less noisy, which sounds dumb in, like, when I'm saying it, but it really does have a deeper storyline. And his weapon of choice is a long metal pipe because he can feel vibrations through it. So when he hits, he can tell, like, where he's hit because of the amount of vibration that goes through. He can tell if he's, like, injured or if it was just, like, a kind of like just a smack. It didn't really do anything. He can tell if he breaks a bone with it. He also can use somewhat a form of echolocation because, again, boy has good ears. And I haven't exactly figured out how he fits into the Creepypasta Files storyline. But yeah, that's him. I just thought I've been doing a lot of Creepypasta OC reviews, and I really just wanted to talk about my boys for a bit. So yeah, that's it. That's all I've got. If you've I'm saying a lot. Ugh. I did it again. If you watched my last video, there we go, you'll know that I have a comic with my boyfriend that we just started called Camp Curse, and that's up. And if you have a Creepypasta OC that you'd like me to review, please email me or DM me on Amino. And yeah, that's really it. Thanks for listening to me ramble about my boys for 10 minutes. Yeah, thank you, and love you. Have a wonderful day. Mwah!